Round number 7 of Dodge Viper Cup, and mathematically there are really only 3 drivers in contention. Ben Keating, Jeff Courtney, and AJ Morgan. All 3 have steely-eyed determination to win this championship. This is Dodge Viper Cup.
Welcome to the 7th round of the Dodge Viper Cup, presented by Pennzoil Ultra. I'm Greg Creamer. You've met Tom Natchu. We are at Texas World Speedway in College Station, Texas, a place where in the past lots of records have been set. One was set today for this area. It's the longest streak of 100-plus degree days. We're hoping that's not the only record. Ben Keating gets his 6th straight pole, 7th front row qualifying effort. AJ Morgan alongside Jeff Courtney, all 3 of them double winners. Kurt Solberger ties his best qualifying effort. Todd Nelson and local Texan Eric Galern fill out row 3. He's excited to be here. Dave Fiorelli and newcomer Don Poor fill out row 4. We go to row number 5. Dave Mazik and Mike Von Quillick complete row number 5. In row number 6, got Dar Holsworth, one of our celebrity drivers, and newcomer Dave Decker as well. In row number 7, we go back and take a look at Jim Johnson, another of our celebrity drivers. We'll tell you a little bit more about them once we get racing underway. We are just about ready to do that. The wheel and lights go on. When they go out, we go racing in round 7 of the Dodge Viper Cup, presented by Pennzoil Ultra, about to unfold. That is steaming hot. Texas World Speedway, there's the launch on board with Ben Keating. And you can see from 3rd, Jeff Courtney coming up. But look at AJ Morgan trying to park it around the outside, Tom.
You know, they get started on pit lane here at Texas World Speedway with that standing start, and that banking really doesn't play into it, so you can get in there awfully hot off pit lane when the steward says just go for it.
And look at Morgan. He dropped back for his 2nd, then pops to the inside, now into the right-hander. That is turn 3. He slices across the nose of Keating and into the lead. Keating slots in his 2nd, Courtney in 3rd. They cross the back straight of the oval and now into a rather undulating and challenging portion of the track that's outside of the oval.
You know, we talked about these 3 guys being mathematically in contention here. Ben Keating, some extra motivation as we see a big tank sniper there. That's Todd Nelson. He goes off backwards and gathers it up.
Boy, that's tough, though. Running in 5th at the time, he's going to lose. Well, everybody is going to go by him, and he is now at the back of the pack. Meanwhile, on board with AJ Morgan in the lead. As I said, these top 3 drivers all have 2 wins coming in here, and it is Keating with the points lead. So AJ Morgan looking to do anything he can to try and slice into that, and the best way you can do that is beat the guy who's in front of you in the points.
That's right. Stay ahead of him at all costs. And there's Jeff Courtney, normally playing that game to try to stay up front, but we've heard him talk in the past. You know, sometimes they just let these guys like to play it out and see if I've got more tires left at the end of the day.
Well, he's been complaining a little bit about the fact that he's struggling with some front-end grip, and whenever he tries to hustle the car, the tires go off and he gets even slower. So I think maybe a conservative day is in order for Jeff Courtney, at least for a while, as you point out, trying to let things come back to him just a little bit. The 3 of these guys opening it up just a little bit over 4th place. Kurt Solberger with Eric Galern settling into the top 5.
With so much racing going on in the world, you'd have to be a 4-headed monster to keep up with it all. Luckily, we have that. Join Peter Keene, Bill Wood, Errol Tucker, and their guest driver analyst each week for an opinionated look at the news coming out of the racing world. Remember, it's GoRacingTV.com for all your racing and video needs.
We're back at the 7th round of the Dodge Viper Cup presented by Pennzoil Ultra at Texas World Speedway. Not used for lots of pro racing, but this weekend, very busy indeed. Having a good look here at newcomer Dave Decker as he is putting in a great run. Not a lot of experience certainly in these cars, really not much experience racing at all, but it's an interesting journey for him, and he currently sits Tom in the 11th spot.
You know, David Decker has come up through the North American road racing system. He did some time trials before that, did some driver education. The fact that he hangs around with Todd Nelson as a business partner with him isn't hurting at all either.
And that's obviously piqued his interest just a little bit as we're on board with Dar Holsworth as he's checking things out here. Back now as we take a look at Dave Decker looking back through the pack, sitting in that 11th spot. And these guys have been having a good battle here in this battle for 11th between the two of them. Holsworth actually is a custom motorcycle, I was going to say builder, but it's actually a little bit more unique than that. But he's in a good scrap right now. Both of these guys making their debut in the Dodge Viper Cup presented by Pennzoil Ultra.
And of course, Dar Holsworth comes into this round as being a world champion. A world champion from Sturgis, mind you, but still, big moment for Decker.
Oh, he runs off big time, gathers it up, and is able to continue here. And of course, that's a unique graphic package on that car. That's part of it as well.
Well, it was a decision. Do you get it painted or do you do a wrap? So I talked to some people. I gave them a few design ideas. And I told the guy, I said, you make one up that you think is really nice too. And I ended up picking his design. So I have no credit for that one. I had a 2008 Viper I got from Todd. And I was following around where the Viper Cup was going. And I started picking up speed and learning. And I started realizing that these speeds get a little dangerous. So I thought the best thing to do was to step up and get a car with a lot of protection, roll bar, fire suppression. And that's the step I took. I loved the track all the way through. The car had plenty of power. I'm still learning how to apply it all. I want to make sure I can get out of what I get into. But yeah, the car's super powerful. Very, very impressed. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Art. They set up my car. The crew was wonderful. These guys are fantastic. Daytona is coming up next month, and we're looking forward to going to that track. And the wife and 2 children will be there. Everyone's really excited. The whole Art crew, everyone's going to be there coming down. So we're excited. I've never driven that track either, so that'll be another learning curve.
And he's doing a great job. And you know the producers here, when they see a great graphics package, they tend to throw a name at it. Ryan Shims last year, they called that car Camo. They always call Keating's Acid, and as he hits the pit lane after that off, they refer to this one as Ice, and understandably, that's a sharp-looking machine. Now we hop on board with Dave Mazek, currently in the 6th spot. He's moved up smartly from where he qualified down in the order back in 9th. He's having a good run as well.
Dave Mazek's having a great season. Remember, he started this whole thing as basically a blind rookie. He's come up through the system as well. Every time he runs a Dodge Viper Cup race, he gets a little better. It's great to see.
Yeah, he's uncorked a number of straight top 10s, but at the most recent doubleheader round at VIR, fell out of that a little bit. Good to see him back at it and really starting to hustle this car again, showing some great speed. Also a good look here at the number 32 of Don Poorer, basically racing Keating's 2nd car and acquitting himself pretty smartly for, again, another debut run.
Well, Dodge, the ViperExchange.com is down here in Texas, so is Downball Dodge. I imagine there's lots of people. Last count I heard, it was over 5 dozen.
Oh, and look at him coming right up on the back of Mazek. These two really putting on a good show. That tricky section of racetrack there, 13, 14, 15, those S's, and they negotiated that very well. And all that weight transfer in these big, powerful cars, that's not easy to learn. These guys coming along very quickly. Very quickly,
and of course, this is the most fun part of the track, followed by the most terrifying part of the track as they come down this straightaway, all the way up over 130 miles an hour, and look how deep they go before they actually touch the brakes.
You notice that first part of that, they're way off of what you might call the apex because they've got to get it set up for turn 2. And if you turn in too early into 1, you're in trouble in turn 2. And here we see somebody else in trouble. This is Dave Fiorelli down into the pits, just rejoining. And the report was a cut tire. We've had some problems with that here. Again, this track a little dusty. It's kind of out in the open here. And as awesome as these Michelin tires are that all of these cars run on, to their great fortune, you can't withstand debris on the track no matter how good you are. and he had a little problem with that, was able to gather it back up again, but it cost him a lot of time and distance, and we are watching here Eric Galern right now coming after him. And talk about Galern, he is ecstatic to be racing here in Texas.
Well, he's at home here in Texas. This is his home track, and I think that race car that he's driving here today has more miles on it than almost any other Cup car in the business. You know, he uses it as a weekend race car, and he gets better and better, doesn't he? And here at home, he's performing very well.
He's motivated, as you said, to be sure. And Fiorelli doing a nice job there when they came up on him. That is Galern and Solberger. And boy, Galern able to take advantage of that as well. Got a run and now parks himself up in front of Solberger at this point. So a nice job here as they go through some of the twistier bits once again of this very challenging track. And you'll notice you get these little jumps when you go across that back straight. That keeps things interesting. Up front, A.J. Morgan is leading, but Keating trying to keep it interesting, not letting A.J. get away right now.
Well, he can't let him get away.
Yeah.
A.J. Morgan is so smooth, so calculated, and you know he's done a lot of laps virtually here. He takes care of his tires better than almost anybody else in the paddock because he has to. He's racing on a bit of a budget. A.J. Morgan leads Keating and Courtney, then Galern.
And we're back with more Dodge Viper Cup right after this.
Hi there, I'm Tom Natchu, and this is Greg Kramer. We're called the old bastards of racing in many circles. You know, I guess we met back in the late 1980s.
Easy. It had to be at least that far back. Glory day of some racing, too.
Oh, absolutely. Trans Am was a part of the picture, and actually I learned to do pro announcing from this man around the Trans Am Championship. Oh, that is a long time ago.
A very long time ago, but I'll tell you what, you take a look at Trans Am racing in the early 90s in particular, the names that were running at that time. But the other side of the story was World Challenge was really starting to come alive at that point. And the names in that, there were sometimes you'd look at the two rosters and go, you know, I'm not sure which one is the most talent. Some amazing stuff from those decades past. And of course, a lot of those drivers also doubling up, running amateur racing in the runoffs. And it was spectacular stuff.
Now, GoRacingTV has got all of that action, Trans Am World Challenge, and even some runoff material, all coming up over the next season. That's going to be something to watch.
I know, to be able to relive those 2 decades of motorsports from the Sports Car Club of America's Pro Racing Department, Trans Am World Challenge, and then you include the National Amateur Championships, the runoff, the intense battles that unfolded there. It simply doesn't get any better than that, and it lives again right here on GoRacingTV.com.
Because I need to spend more time in front of my computer.
Welcome back, everybody. Texas World Speedway, College Station, Texas. It's the Dodge Viper Cup presented by Pennzoil Ultra, round 7 from this great racetrack, and we've got great racing to show you. No question about it. That is a good look at Jeff Courtney in the Kenda Tires Dodge Viper Cup machine, one of those beautiful 640 horsepower ACRXs, and he has got local favorite Eric Galern mighty close at this stage. A superb battle shaping up here, Tom.
Well, these guys can actually work together. You saw the gap that Ben Keating had over Courtney as we left for the last break. It's quite a considerable gap. These guys can actually work together in this Texas World Speedway circuit and actually make up some of that room if they can just get Galern right up on his 6.
Yeah, you need to get close, you need to drive as one car and not poke out of line, especially up on that high-speed banking, and try and close it up just a little bit as they come back across that banking, heading into the infield section of this track, down into turn 10. And this is an interesting section, Tom. It goes pretty technical here all the way onto that front straight. It's a place where if you overdrive it, you can lose a lot of time, and Galern is doing just that, closing up on Courtney.
And what does Dorsey Schrader always tell you, Greg? That's the most important corner on the track, leading on to the longest straightaway. Both these guys know it.
Boy, you can tell because they are getting greedy on that throttle. You can see Galern, that green Viper, just twitching a little bit here, trying to make the run up. He's got a run on Courtney. He might be able to do it here. This is going to be the pass. 430 if he can get there. Oh, and he hits the rev limiter. You can hear it there and just kills all of his momentum. And Courtney able to get the gap.
I don't know if Jeff Courtney knew it exactly what happened there, but he said, what in the world just happened back there? He saw him coming, and here he comes again, Greg.
Oh, but I'll tell you what, did he do a beautiful job, tightened up his entry into one, and it didn't hurt him too bad through two, was able to sneak through. Courtney now thinking about it, can't get close enough. That was a brilliant move by Galern after that bit of a mistake.
Well, he's done it, obviously done that move several times before. You talked about being wide of the apex there. Eric Galern set him up on that one, and after that rev limiter incident, that wasn't a bad bit of driving at all.
Yeah, and Galern certainly has a few laps here as we hop on board with somebody who's got no laps here, Jim Johnson. This is a new sport for him, to be sure, and watching the battle here, as I think that is our race leader coming up. That is A.J. Morgan closing, and A.J., what a race he's put in.
This is tough for both these guys. Jim Johnson, by now, the Lux team has told him, listen, you've got the leader coming up on you, but don't just pull over. Just try to do what's expected, and A.J. Morgan will appreciate that.
Absolutely, and A.J. coming up on him and just sort of right now feeling things out just a little bit. He knows this is a guy that doesn't have a lot of experience. He's very patient, then senses the opportunity. Nice job there as A.J. Morgan goes by Jim Johnson. And notice that, Jim stayed out wide, let A.J. get through, then turned in. So a nice piece of driving there as well.
Be predictable, that's what they'll always tell you. Jim Johnson does a good job of it.
A lot of times in the driver's schools when they say when you're getting lapped, don't try and help. Oh, Johnson though just runs a little bit wide and gets into the tires. And look at that corner worker run. He's got the yellow waving, but more importantly, he's out of the way. And that looked like it was a big hit. We'll have to see just what unfolded there. Johnson, well, from this angle, the car doesn't look too bad. It's moving.
Look at that. Look at that.
Virtually unscathed.
That goes under the wallop column. That was a big, big hit. And Jim Johnson drives away in the Viper ACRX. Every time I see this, it's harder and harder to believe, but I'm thinking of Dave's big crash, Farrelly's crash at Sebring. Same thing.
Wow, glancing blow apparently, and it looked big and worse than it was. You know, this guy's got an incredibly exciting vocation, and he told us about that in his new avocation.
I am a record producer. I write and produce songs for various artists, and I also develop our own artists. So I've worked with, people in the music industry from pop, rock, hip hop, R&B. Yeah, I actually was a producer mentor on American Idol this past season. Jimmy Iovine brought me out there as one of his mentors and to produce the songs for the artists, which was really cool. I got some TV time and I got to meet some of the artists and work really closely with them. I learned a lot, kind of like being out here, learning. I was introduced to racing in January. When I first raced, in Sebring, actually, I was in a cup car. I was way out of my league then, and I think I'm still out of my league now, and these Vipers are just incredible. The power, it's such a different deal than a Porsche. They're both great cars, but something about the torque and the low end, I mean, you could be in third gear and feel like it's kind of bogging, but it's moving. And that's something I'm not used to, I'm getting used to, and I'm really getting the hang of it. The car is really fast and awesome to drive.
And he knows now what it's like to get away with one, but Ben Keating, smoke out the back, and there's chunking. It looks like there's debris coming off the car in that little bit of plume of smoke, and that left rear tire is down, Tom. Apparently another cut tire here. But I'll tell you what, that has been an issue.
We've heard from pit lane, the last 3 cut tires all have metal in them. Those are 2 questions for you. Where's the metal coming from? Obviously not coming off the bottom of these cars. And why haven't we picked it up in the last couple of days?
Yeah, it's just amazing that it just suddenly cropped up like that as we watch now A.J. Morgan, who's got a lot of room, back to a second place Courtney, and Eric Galern going for maybe his first podium of the season at home. That'll be sweet.
The club, an amateur racer. Here at GoRacingTV, we salute you. And we want to give you all the tools and info to compete with the best. Find out how to do it all from your own garage by watching our Club Racer and Autocrosser shows. GoRacingTV.com, supplying all your video racing needs.
You can see the heat haze as it is coming off an incredibly hot Texas World Speedway here in College Station, Texas. It's the Dodge Viper Cup 7th round presented by Pennzoil Ultra. Look at that heat haze, and that takes a beating as we start the final lap. A.J. Morgan has himself a nice lead. And with Ben Keating now having that problem and that cut tire, A.J. Morgan is going to do what he needed to do in terms of closing the points up and making this three-way battle an intense one. Jeff Courtney would surely like to be able to get around Eric Galerin. He dropped off a little bit, but Tom, you have to wonder if he wasn't trying to let those Michelin tires cool down just a little bit in this amazing heat, come back good again, and then be able to take a run at Galerin. Ran it a little wide there, though.
Honestly, if you look at this from a practical point of view, driving from third place here is a bit of advantage for Jeff Courtney because he knows he can push Galerin. He's got way more experience with him than Eric Galerin does, and Eric Galerin has already shown a penchant for making a mistake once today.
Well, and it's an interesting deal. Eric's got a lot of laps here at Texas World Speedway. Jeff Courtney's got a ton of laps over the years in variants of Vipers, and this is a sort of a little bit of a combination here, watching two different approaches to things. Experience with the car, experience with the track, and right there, Courtney able to get a run, and you heard that rev limiter again. I think Galerin may have just been so focused on his mirrors in this battle that he missed making that upshift right when he needed to, and a guy like Courtney's going to pounce.
Well, absolutely he's going to pounce, but Eric Galerin still's got a podium here.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to think that A.J. Morgan, nobody wants to wish poorly upon another racer, but he's thinking, how far has Ben back? How big is this advantage that I'm making here?
Absolutely, and it's going to be substantial. Keating right now back in 8th after getting that Michelin replaced and back on track. And I'll tell you what, even with this metal out there and the heat, you can still race these tires hard, and as Courtney has shown us, you can breathe out of it, let that tire come right back, and then be able to attack. And A.J. Morgan has managed everything beautifully, and he's the first guy this season to beat more than 2 wins. That is his 3rd, and he has taken a big chunk out of Ben Keating's point lead. Boy, this championship battle is hotting up, as was this great battle for 2nd. Courtney hangs on, but I'll tell you, Galerin going for that first podium of the season and nailing it with a 3rd, he didn't give it up easy and loving it at home.
Well, you know, AJ's never been one for burnouts. First of all, he's got a tire budget he's got to worry about, but he's having a little celebration inside that car. I'll tell you what just dawned on him, how hot it really is out here.
You bet. You slow down, the air quits moving around these cars, and suddenly you go, whew, there is the final round of results, actually. You could take a look at the margins that they were able to put together, and you saw there where Keating ended up. That is the point story. We're going to show you that now, and that margin has shrunk. Look at that, down to 4 points that Keating has over Courtney, and Morgan has closed it up smartly on the back of both. A great championship unfolding here as we complete this 7th round of the Dodge Viper Cup presented by Pennzoil Ultra. And I'll tell you what, Tom Natchew is with our podium.
Well, A.J. Morgan, you can add the state of Texas to the big number of states that you have become a hero in. This has been a great day for you.
It means a lot to win here. Ben's home track, I mean, he was just flying today. He's been beating us all weekend, but it's just great that, you know, we can get a good set of tires under us thanks to Michelin, Dodge for being here, and Pennzoil for helping put on the series. I mean, this means a lot to win here in this heat. It's incredible.
You know, every time we watch you race, we see you becoming more and more mature, and I understand that you're now moving your education towards this.
Yep, I got my bachelor's degree 3 months ago at the U of I, and now I'm off to Wisconsin, Milwaukee to pursue a master's in exercise physiology to hopefully study race car drivers like myself. So,
what do you say you and I get to Daytona, and we'll discuss that some more?
Let's do it.
Congratulations. A.J. Morgan wins one here at Texas World Speedway. Well, Jeff Courtney, you know, still mathematically involved in this championship, and you were racing just like a guy who is in that position.
Yeah, it was tough. I couldn't hang. Like all weekend we've been struggling with this car to make the front end stick and just struggle. And anytime I try to push the pace, it just tears the front tires off. So I run with them for like a lap and they're just starting to gap me and I can't do anything about it. So when 37 got by me, I knew I had to cool down tires and it was getting late in the race and just make a last run with the Kenda Viper.
That may have been the most exciting moment in the race.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that late. Rick was telling me where it was, and I come up here and see the last lap. I'm like, okay, we got to make something happen. So.
Jeff Courtney, we always love Dodge Viper Cup, and we love to see you do well.
Thanks, Tommy.
All right. Well, Eric Galerin, some say you can never go home again, but you clearly can. Your wife is here, your daughter's here. This is a great way to start off the weekend.
It sure is. It's great to bring a third place winning back to Texas.
So there's a lot of action out on the track out there, and this is a very tricky circuit.
It is. It was a little dusty, so it was slippery on most of the turns. Turn 6 was really bad, and Jeff caught me, got me between 6 and 7 on the last lap. But would have had nice to have the second, but there it goes, you know.
You know what? A performance like this, forgives this bad hair day. Eric Gillern, everybody.
Well, you bet. I mean, as we take a look at a great podium here on the track that he described, the drive he put in this heat, you forgive about any kind of a look at this stage of things. An absolutely great round of the Dodge Viper Cup presented by Pennzoil Ultra. The 7th round is now complete. The championship hotter than ever, matching the temperatures here at Texas World Speedway, where round 8 will be coming at you once again. When we come back for that, it's going to be a great one to call. For Tom Natchew, I'm Greg Creamer. We'll see you then. And take care, everybody.